And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 668. Why so many American and Japanese anime fans are in the alt-right. We've covered videos like this before. Why anime has an alt-right problem, has a Nazi problem, blah, blah, blah. All ridiculous, silly topics. But we are with the king of ridiculousness, and that is the Cavernacle. And if there's ever a word we've ever used more frequently describing this guy, it's that, because he uses it all the time. And it's the best way to describe your brain after about 10 minutes of listening to him. So it's been at least a few months, maybe a year, since we've covered him. I can't remember the last time we did it. It is bad. It is a bad experience, and this is your typical ideologue who doesn't know what he's talking about, isn't an expert in the field, doesn't do any research, or what he does is very paltry and cherry-picked. And I'm not surprised that anyone even follows this guy at any critical junction of understanding or research or whatever you want to consider YouTube for analysis in anime. So he's not the guy to go to. But he will see a political problem where there is none. He will play video games and see politics where there is none. And I'm sure he will see that with God knows what he's talking about today. So this came out 2 years ago, and apparently you guys have been asking for it for 2 years, which is scary. Either we have completely not listened to you, or we knew exactly what you were trying to do to us. And when I went to search for the video, I found it, and I have already downvoted it, so I must have already watched it. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't remember it, thankfully. And that's the problem with the Cavernacle. Everything he says is infinitely forgetful. It's just, everything is just up in the air. It means nothing. So we'll do our best. We have a big panel today. So take it easy, relax, get a drink, get a tea, whatever you prefer. And take it easy.
Don't get a downer. Get an upper. Get caffeine.
Yes.
Because he will put you to sleep.
You need something.
You may need alcohol on top of that.
That might have the opposite
No.
effect.
Alcohol is a downer.
If it works for you, it works for you. Go for it. So this is a 20-minute video. He has 4 sections. We're going to jump in between because he rambles on and says a whole lot of nothing. So
you think 3 bottles of Coca-Cola would do for the caffeine?
Probably.
Isn't that what you just normally drink?
Anyway.
Depends on who he's talking
Coca-Cola
about.
Zero.
What, like the dessert that he has, like he has boxes of that. I completely forgot. Orange something.
Chocolate oranges for Christmas.
Chocolate orange, yes.
All year round. It's Christmas all year round.
Chocolate
Like he has a
orange?
pyramid built
That
of
actually
chocolate orange
That actually
boxes.
sounds disgusting.
It's a British tradition, I think. You buy these chocolate oranges.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never had
At
them
least
myself.
Londoners
Well,
do.
that's. I mean, then again, in the United States, we have chocolate cherries. So
Yeah, there's all kinds of traditions that.
It's British. That explains everything.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's not attack his British background. That's why we have other people to make fun of when they come on. Anyway, 20 minutes. Here we go. Hope you
Who's
guys
not
are
in here?
Sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to get this microphone untangled.
Whatever you
Fuck.
say,
All right.
There we go.
Yugi boy, Yugi boy, Yugi boy.
Is this really the opening?
What the hell is
Whoa!
this?
Why are we watching?
Peace Walker, what?
He's just throwing clips together.
Anyway,
Yes.
Why
Was
is
this?
opening?
This was before Metal Gear betrayed him.
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah, for context, Cavernacle claims he became a socialist through Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
And learned
Somebody
everything.
tells me Metal Gear Solid is not pro-socialism.
Well, he
That
also
doesn't
learned
matter.
everything from his socialist history professor about history. So there you go.
Yeah, and since Kojima betrayed him, now it's his world broke apart.
Oh yeah, that happened too.
That was on Twitter
it's
a few
beautiful.
months ago, I think. Right?
I think it was weeks.
Was it weeks? Okay,
It's
whatever.
like yesterday.
All right. Anyway.
To another video delving into another fascist sub-community. These aren't the only videos I make on this channel, but you guys currently seem to like these ones, so I'm going to keep making them just for this week, maybe into next week as well. And before we get any further, a lot of the times people just see the thumbnail and see the title, and they click the video and they're like, we aren't all like that, you know, not all bronies are this way, not all furries are this way, not all pagans are fascists. Yes, I know that, I always say that in my video. Please watch just a bit, and what I'm trying to do more is show both sides. But just like with those videos, of course I am not saying all people who watch anime are some sort of Nazis or fascists or they're on the alt-right, because that is simply not true, and we're going to talk about demographics and all that stuff later on in the video. But yes, as someone who watched anime growing up,
I could do it right now.
It's just a bunch of bad words. Everybody who doesn't agree with me is a bad word.
Yeah,
that's all it is. That's why we call people who are against socialism fascism. That's where socialism.
Yeah, the premise.
Fascism means worker union.
The premise of these sorts of titles, like why so many X or Y, is any correlation agreement, positive or negative, and many could mean 10%. It could mean 0.1%, and you could be truthful in your statement. So he could skew this as much as he wants. And as he said in his opening note, not everyone who does this is X. It's like, yeah, so what is your point? What are you getting at if you're already saying, well, you know, I don't have the stats to prove X or Y. I just know a lot of people who watch X or Y. You're like, then what's the point? If the opposite is also true in different proportions. This is the problem with these sorts of titles. But correlations, you know, this is like stats 101 in first year university.
I bet I could think what his definition of alt-right is for 5 seconds, and it's anything fun.
We have no idea. We still don't know. We've been like trying to figure out what he means, because he mentioned fascism in this first sentence. You're like, really? Alt-right means fascism? Are you sure about that?
Wait a minute. I think I recognize this motherfucker.
Can these people even properly define what fascism is?
No, they have no idea.
No, fascism is.
They
define
can't.
fascism as right wing. That's the first mistake.
It's
because
not,
they have
yes,
because it was the
can be
failed.
right
It was.
wing, but it's not exclusive to the right.
Fascism is everything I hate.
To these yahoos,
Fascism was left wing. The thing is that fascism, as well as National Socialism, were the failed socialisms that had to be beaten down by the world, and therefore the rest of the socialists can't associate with them anymore, because that would make them look bad. So they have to declare them the enemies and push them exclusively into the right field.
Yeah, just look at like where Mussolini came from before he invented
Lost
the
in their
fascism.
own irony.
Right. We've talked about this before about Hitler's National Socialism by was it Zittelman or Zedelman?
Zeitelman.
Yeah, he wrote a few books on the topic where he addresses and looks at the actual quotes,
The
and
big
letters
Z.
from Hitler on what his version of totalitarianism and Nazism was. And surprise, surprise, it was pretty much inspired by the Soviet-Russian version of politicking. So it was socialist, it was nationalist, it was Marxist, it was all these things. And once you get to the extremes, you get to the, what is it called, the horseshoe theory, and everything just becomes one, which is totalitarianism. So it doesn't really matter what you call it. Anyway.
On top of that, no, Ford is gone. You're glad. You're free.
He's gone? What happened?
Ford is gone again.
All right, fair enough.
I need more sleep.
Let's keep on going.
as a child does not make you a bad person. Watching anime does not even define your personality. But for the purpose of this video, links between anime subculture and the alt-right. Now, as usual, before I get into the...
Does anyone know what anime subculture is?
People who watch anime and go to conventions.
Yeah, I guess that would be the subculture of anime fans would be the people who spend a bunch of money to go to KotakuCon or whatever the hell it's called.
The more dedicated fans, I guess.
Like actual anime and gaming and manga conventions.
Okay,
Yeah.
so any associated media with like anime is the start, and then you get into anime, and then you go into like gaming or cosplay or whatever, right?
I guess so.
Okay, I have no idea. Yeah, see, he doesn't define his terms. We have to like guess what he's talking about.
every type of video like this time with his YouTube thing while I've got the time to make these videos. So if you feel generous and want to financially contribute to my work, please check out my Patreon.
No, we don't, nor should anyone.
You're only gonna buy chocolate orange.
Check out the
so bad.
They're also in the description. And if you want to
He
follow
only
me on
has
social
4
media,
boxes of
at the
them. This has to
Tabernacle
be a
on
very
social
old
media.
video.
So like I said there, I watched anime as
funny
a
that you can
child.
timestamp them
Mainly
with that.
Beyblade, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon. Obviously the English dubs that were on
So
during
the
the
basic
time.
bitch
Pokemon,
anime.
I remember watching as a very young kid. About
He would have a much stronger argument if he even talked about Great Teacher Onizuka. Dear God, there's a lot of things in that anime the left hate.
I mean, was that one around at the time of the 2000s when
Yeah.
anime was booming over here?
I distinctly remember
Yeah.
his art
Yeah?
style.
Okay.
Here's the thing about Japan in general. Japan is very nationalistic.
Yeah. That's part of it as well.
They're also very liberal. Like there's many facets to the Japanese people and culture. So it depends where you're coming from. I think the classic example of anime and politics is with Miyazaki and his view of war. And he didn't like the jingoism of World War II in Japan. And this is basically the peace movement of the 70s as well. So I don't know if
Didn't
With
Miyazaki
the
lose
messages
like
in
some of his
Miyazaki,
family in
Miyazaki,
war?
they're far more nuanced than just my side good, your side bad.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Miyazaki was a true artist. He did not have a message, even though the themes of his movies had anti-war messages. He was not pushing that. He wanted to tell a story, so he took things he observed and said, "Okay, I like engineering. I love planes. Planes are part of war. Let's tell a story about war in Howl's Moving Castle that involves that theme." But that's not the focus of the story. That's just one element. So he'll
It's just I was gonna say it's just there. It's not
And then
like
you
a
have
main thing.
Fireflies, which is about, well, it's the tail end of World War II.
right.
But it's not an anti-American message. It's just anti-war.
Nobody said anti-American. He doesn't. He said anti-war.
That's what
An
I'm getting at.
anti-war
And I'm
movie is
saying
not
that they're not picking my side good, your side bad. There's actual nuance to it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that's why Smart
It's
Boy
just
said against jingoism.
in general.
Yeah, he allows. This is what a writer does. They allow the audience to make up their own understanding of what the work is about, not shoving it down their throats. Which is why Miyazaki is so respected. He does children's stories. They all are understood. They're all wonderful themed, beautiful animation, wonderful Japanese lore and Shintoism and mysticism. It's a delight for all parts of the family, I would imagine. So anime is very diverse. We always look to Miyazaki, but with the rest of popular anime and young adult fiction, that's a whole other analysis. But I don't know where exactly Mr. Cavernacle is coming from, because he just mentioned Beyblade and Pokemon. I'm like, okay, those are pretty popular in the late 90s, early 2000s.
What he watched was just the crap on TV.
These are children's anime.
Yeah, young children, you're right.
Yeah, and it's the stuff they showed first on TV when anime got bigger in the West. So that's what he knows. He didn't actually look for good anime.
Yeah, it's like a Saturday morning cartoon stuff. Like if you like
Right.
Beyblade or Pokemon, fine, whatever. I mean, I liked Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon as a kid, but
It's not going to
On
have
the topic of anime,
there's
am
not
I the
much
only
depth
one
or
that-
nuance to it. It's
Yeah,
just
that's what I'm getting at. They're not this big
Mhm.
nuanced themes and lore that you can say, oh, this is man versus machine, or this is man versus nature. No, it's just a kid wanting to raise monsters and win. So
or
that's
card
fine.
games on motorcycles, but like it's just
On the
it's
topic of
nonsense.
old
It's
It's
anime,
mainly-
content.
And it's mainly the Endless series that he's mentioning, and that were first made big in the West.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
on the topic of old anime, am I the only one that really misses the old anime art style? Like,
The
I
80s?
really do.
Like those older styles, yeah.
Yeah. I bought a game called Pantsu Hunter just because it had that style.
Fair
That's how
enough.
much I miss that shit.
That's cool. All right. Anyway,
80s and 90s had all
Whatever
the
interests you, whatever catches your eye.
80s and 90s had all the hand-drawn watercolor backgrounds on canvas. They look so much more beautiful than the clean CGI shit we have today.
Mhm.
All right,
Then
we
I'm going
got.
to say hand-drawn animation will always be superior to computer CGI animation.
Overall, yeah.
Okay, we got a donation from Zeke Kyle. Thank you, sir. The commie move of everyone who isn't a communist is a Nazi goes back to the 1940s. A famous example was when communist media outlets called Walt Disney a Nazi simply because he testified at an HUAC of the presence of commies in his cartoonist union.
Oh, Lord.
Correct.
Yeah.
We don't need to go that far because there's no way Cavernacle does, but thank you for that history lesson. I appreciate it. Okay, let's keep going.
About maybe 5 or 6 years old, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! And Beyblade, maybe a bit older, 7 to 10. Always liked them, always extremely over the top. As an adult, I don't like anime. I don't watch anime. I don't actually watch much TV or films because I'm really, really picky. So I'm not going to waste my time on like an 1,000 episode anime like One Piece.
That's because that's the only shit you know. You're not picky. You're sullied.
So he's
like
not.
crap.
So he's not a modern fan, is what he's saying.
I'll admit
He's not a fan. He wasn't a fan back then. All he watched was what was presented to him by the picture box.
I'll admit, I understand his viewpoint about anime. I just think that I differ from him because, well, I think that anime isn't fucking trying to push a political message, but I do understand the sentiment of, I really don't feel like watching this shit sometimes.
That's fine. That's totally cool. That is not a problem. I think everyone feels that way with everything, so it's okay. But let's get to his point. Hopefully he's going to get there soon.
Hopefully.
I don't often find the stories that interesting. I do appreciate them for the aesthetic value. Blade Runner did a really cool anime before Blade Runner 2049 came out. Apparently there's an anime series that might be in development as well, so I would check something like that out. But yes, watch anime, don't watch anime, and I don't judge people who watch anime. So now let's get into what I want to talk about. Do you sometimes write...
You don't, then what?
Right, Nazis.
Yeah, then what's the point of this video then?
I judge people who watch anime. I think, okay, does this person use deodorant on a daily basis?
Probably
Well,
not.
that's just you're a bit of a troll with things like that. Let's be fair.
I'm an honest troll. I'm an honest troll.
Fair enough.
That's a good
But
point.
anyway,
Because for him to
at
say
least for
that-
once he does.
A weeb's hot.
At least for once he does get the causality right, and he is not blaming everyone through the title of his video.
For now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far we can give him that credit in this video. There we go.
Okay.
He was still young,
2 years ago.
You sometimes and then get a response from a profile with an anime profile picture, but then it turns out they're spouting off some of the most toxic stuff online.
Strange, I have that experience with everyone with pronouns in their bio.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I remember. I remember talking to one of my friends who went to Japan. He told me exactly. They do not fucking hold back. They fucking if they're online, they will go ham. They will go exactly how they feel.
Yeah, because Japan calls it for what it is.
It's as if everything he disagrees with is toxic and alt-right and Nazis and fascist, etc., etc.
Like, I'm not gonna deny there is some toxicity with anime fans, but I'm not gonna say that it's not because of the fact of politics, it's just because some anime fans are assholes.
Yeah, because that kind of behavior is
toxicity in everything.
I was just about to say, yeah.
All right.
I say just stay away from small conventions. There's the most weirdos.
Okay. Here is Mo Lester. Thanks for the donation, Mo. Yes. Alt-right anime. This reminds me of when Naruto said, I'm going to build a whites-only village in the leaves. Anyone darker than my nipples will be lined up against a wall and shot. Believe it. I wonder what Kishimoto meant by this. Oh, God.
I activate wall jitsu!
Yes. Okay.
There actually is a stone wall jutsu.
Oh my god!
Breathe, man, breathe.
All right. Let's keep
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't worry.
These profile
It's okay,
pictures
George.
are like the anime girls, and there is actually a sort of name for this in that the girls
Avatars.
are called moes in anime. So a mo
What?
is an
No, they're not.
archetype
Mo?
genre
Mo?
of-
Mo?
So, guys, if you don't
What?
know what Moe
Help.
is, it's not a name for girls, okay?
Mo.
Isn't
Mo.
Mo just like cute person or whatever?
No, it's a flaming Mo. It's a drink.
Oh my god.
Sean is
Cough syrup. Aster. Is there a Aster here?
Anyway,
Is it Moe or something?
Moe,
Yes.
yes.
Moe.
It's a
Yeah,
term
because-
towards a certain level of cuteness that's hard to describe of a young, anything young. It could be a kid, it could be a baby, it could be a young lady, it could be a young boy. And there's this weird, undescribable means of addressing it. It's like, okay, this is not just a good-looking girl or boy. There's something cute about them I can't quite place.
It is something that threatens to give you diabetes.
It's like an extreme version of cuteness, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got the definition wrong. I'm not gonna knock him for that because it is a hard thing to grasp, but he's not an expert, so that's fine.
Yeah, and also tall person confirmed the pronunciation Moe. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Thank you.
It's just all you need is a basic understanding of the Japanese language, and you see it's 2 syllables. Mo,
All right.
Mo,
Here's
For
Legacy.
example,
Thank you, Legacy.
largely speaking, in Japanese pronunciations, vowel syllable pronunciation does not change based on spelling, so it would be moe.
It's what I said.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
Whisp just said that.
Japanese tends to have more info in their words than American words
All right.
do.
Japanase conveys more, yes.
All right, here we go. Legacy, thanks for the $1.99. Mo, you mean like the game Mo Astray?
Mo Astray?
I don't know.
That's
Is that
not
the
a thing.
Yeah.
You're lying. That's not a thing.
All right.
Legacy, you betrayed us.
we're good. Let's keep going.
Girls doing cute stuff, attending school, crushing on boys, pouting and being clumsy. If there's a single word you could use to describe most Mo archetypes other than cute, it's passive. So yeah, you got these cute anime profile pictures. So the article from The Ringer goes on to say, Mo trolls themselves are hardly passive. They brand themselves with character art from World War II themed...
Wait a second. Is he getting this from some blog post he didn't address?
Probably. Like the Keon picture
Is he
and
on
World War
4chan?
II.
This is not supposed to be taken seriously. Is he on 4chan?
No.
No, it sounds like some leftist blog site.
It sounds like
He
just
reads about 4chan from Reddit.
Yeah, it sounds like he got a
Okay.
random
Oh,
blog
hold
post.
up,
that he
hold
agrees
up,
with.
hold up. This would be a good description of what happened.
Yes. What?
Bait picture. He took the fucking bait.
Put that in the memes channel.
All right. Anyway.
So yeah.
Let's keep going.
Anime series such as Girls und Panzer or Barbarossa, or adorn more run-of-the-mill Mo imagery with swastikas, or make America great again.
He's a troll, dude.
These are all
They're trolling.
memes. Yeah, they're not real.
They are memes.
Don't take
What
it
are
seriously.
memes? What are these
Like Abby
modes?
just
He's
said,
jealous
you took
because
the
his
bait.
side of politics can't.
And
The moment
Most
you
some
turn
kind of
socialist, you
white
can't meme
supremacist
anymore.
dog whistle.
cute girls with political messages on their hats. Great. That's fantastic. That's Moe, sure, yeah.
Man.
That was an anime. I'd watch it.
You know, because
Man,
because
I
you know the
remember
left
when
isn't
we
making
were anime
stickers
girls,
with.
We're talking all about We're talking
No,
all about racist shit. That was a very
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's not a fact that the left makes stickers with video game characters and cartoon characters with their own political messages and plasters them all around the cities. But when the left, when someone not on the left makes
shit that like the
memes,
left is trying to like claim and like the LGBTQ is Fallout New Vegas, and I was like, why? Like all the factions have like the most horrible autocrats running it, like Gamora, and then you're like, well, this is base, this is us. Like, okay, highest values ever.
Of
I guess the left is the only ones who
Gamora.
keep playing that game.
Because there are gay people there.
Oh.
And
Anyway.
And then you can talk with one of them. Like he got stolen when he was a kid, and he was made to do gay sex when he was a child. And like, oh, that's a good faction to support.
Wait, so
That
so,
explains things.
So the liberals were talking about how they claimed one faction just because it has gay people, even though the person leading it's kind of fucked up.
Yes,
They're
like they completely ignore like the background
They're
information.
not, and they're not liberal. Stop calling them liberal. That's why they keep going.
Sorry.
Anyway,
I thought liberal mentioned. I apologize.
Let's proceed.
I'm gonna keep going. Here's some super chats.
Is liberal.
Here's Captain
Yes.
Kohai. There's another fancy word that this guy might not be familiar with. Japanese pronunciation of words and names are similar to Italian and Spanish. Thank you. I think I mentioned this years ago. My dad even made this observation because he heard some Japanese words and he thought, hey, that sounds very, very similar to the Italian version of that. Anyway, and the thread knot. Thank you, sir. Let's be honest. His kind know how implications work, and that's why they have to poison the well by implying anyone who's against them is evil. We're getting to that. We haven't quite made that or he hasn't made that association yet, but he suddenly just jumped into memes that were political using anime. So it's getting there. Anyway, let's keep going.
It is a bit of a shock often to see looking anime girls, or sometimes sexualized anime girls, who then start talking about, white replacement and white genocide and all this stuff. I actually got exposed to this years and years ago in 2015 when I used to write for my university's politics paper. But where does this weird phenomenon come from? Of course, like most things like this.
We had that in German Parliament in 1999 by a Turkish Green parliamentarian who was boasting about how the Germans have too few children and his Turks have way more and they will outbreed us in 20 years and take over. So yeah, I think I have a point because the very people on your side are boasting about it for, 25 years now?
Soon, Wisp, you will know the recipe for the kebab.
I already do.
Wow.
Like most things, Chan is the answer, but interestingly enough, it actually has links to the origins of 4chan, not just some weird crossover event like the Brony stuff. So Ryan Broderick at BuzzFeed did a good article about 4 years ago saying, here's why there's an anime fan art of President Trump all over your Facebook, but it goes in to talk about the origins of this cultural stuff. So I'm going to read some of that for you now. So the Netsu Yuyoku, which is like the Japanese alt-right movement, started on a website called...
What is it actually called?
Natsu Ioku?
Netu Uyoku.
I heard Natsu.
Neto.
Oh.
Neto.
Neto. Yeah.
Said Natsu.
Where do you put the S? Tabernacle. Are you illiterate?
He's British.
Yeah.
They're all illiterate. No offense, Thread, not you're an exception.
Your fucking side of politics keeps going on about mispronunciation Kiev and other shit because that's currently politically important to you because it's culturally offensive to mispronounce things in other languages. Yet here you are. Fuck you.
Origins of this. I'm going to read some of that for you now. So the Netsu Yuyoku, which is like the Japanese alt-right movement, started on a website called Ni Chanuru, 2channel or 2chan, which was a popular message board that was launched in 1999 by Hiroyuki Nishimura while he was studying at the University of Central Arkansas. It wasn't a typical message board, it was anonymous so people could say anything they wanted, and threads would disappear after a short period of time, forcing people to comment as quickly as possible. 2channel started off as a place to talk about anime and video games, but it quickly grew into an early incubator for what would become a full-blown internet subculture. Around 2003, Japan started importing a lot of South Korean TV dramas and pop groups, and it was called the Korean Wave, and the Japanese media jumped on the trend. And this disillusioned Japanese nationalists who went to 2channel to vent their anger. So with the intrusion, in their view, of Korean media, of course, things like anime become something to be more proud of because it's Japanese, and Japanese nationalists love stuff that, I guess, brings more fame and success to Japan. But now here, the links are already starting to show with contemporary alt-right stuff in the West. So this wasn't destined to remain a solely Japanese phenomenon.
Really?
2chan and the Neto Yuyoku's influence outside the country started to fairly innocuously in 2003. Then Christopher Paul, then a 15-year-old high school student in New York, created his own version of 2chan. he set up an anonymous message board for people to talk about Japanese anime and comic books and called it 4chan. Nishimura lost control of 2chan in 2014, and Paul ran 4chan until 2015, and Nishimura actually bought 4chan off Paul, which means the two biggest hives of non-online nationalism in Japan and the West were owned by the same guy. So if you want a more deep dive into why the Western alt-right love Japan, I've actually...
Oh yeah, I'm gonna trust the guy who can't even pronounce names to be like accurate historical representation about this now.
I'm gonna trust the guy that doesn't understand what a troll is.
Yeah, sure.
Now see what the fuck?
Okay, we didn't need to know the origin of 2chan to understand that these assholes come from 4chan. And here's the thing about 4chan. Never take anything you see seriously on 4chan. It is full of trolls.
Unless it's Paul, then never take anything seriously.
I'm still waiting to see how this has anything to do with anime. There's a big difference between watching an anime and being an anime fan and using anime in memes. This is not the same thing.
Yeah, what hurts me right now is that he manages to mispronounce the names differently each time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Mispronunciation is not consistent.
Like as if it's a gag.
It's as if
no. I don't think so. He's too deadpan on it.
Not.
I think he's just incompetent.
Not the Cavernacle. No, it's the guys doing the memes.
Absolutely incompetent.
Anyway, here's the Copperal talking about that reference that Mark made about New Vegas. NCR is woke and Veronica keeps getting cannibalized. Oh my god.
Remind me, isn't Veronica the lesbian?
I didn't know that.
Yes, the lesbian brotherhood puncher person. Yeah.
Oh, and here's the thing: she's a gay character that's not in your face about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's mentioned, but again, it's on your face.
Anyway, let's keep going.
Made a video about Western weebs as well and how they sanitize Japan's far-right nationalism. But go check those out if you want that sort of stuff. In those sort of videos, I talk about the Western admiration for Japan, but Richard Spencer, the probably most famous alt-right Nazi in the West, especially
who was an actor,
does he like
anime? Richard Spencer coming to this.
Who is this Richard Spencer?
Isn't he a voice actor?
No. Richard Spencer turned out to be just a grifter.
A fad.
Yeah, he did it because it gave him fame and money, not because he was actually believed in any of the shit he spouted. So the left can't even find enough Nazis. They have to invent them and fall for these assholes and build them up.
They don't even know what a Nazi is.
Well, to a degree, they do.
All they know about what a Nazi is they were the bad guys in World War II.
Psst, here's secret code for Nazi. Honk honk is Nazi propaganda.
Apparently, doing okay hand gesture is a Nazi dog whistle too.
That's from 4chan.
Yeah, but there are actual Nazis and neo-Nazis out there.
Yes,
seriously,
there are actual Nazis and neo-Nazis out there. However, most of them, they're very rare, and most of them are just as lunatics as the left are. And most of them are the unhinged ones that you can spot are far away from government. Those that you cannot spot are so deep in the government as the communists are.
And here's a newsflash: when you call everyone a Nazi, it diminishes the meaning of the word. Are you?
That doesn't matter to them. It's not about
the boy who cried wolf.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them that they diminish the word. It's just about you either a socialist, or you are against socialism, or you are not for socialism, rather. And when you're not for socialism, then you are all the bad words. You get thrown into that. Yeah, but you get thrown into that deliberately to emotionally extort you into joining socialism so that you're not called the word anymore. It's not to call out actual Nazis. It's to scare you into joining the socialists so that you won't be called the evil word anymore.
Well, that's
what it's about.
Are you
You're
getting,
either
again,
with us
lost
or
in their
against
own
us.
To bring this
lost in their own irony.
To bring this back to
Yeah.
the topic, this is usually brought
No,
up
it's a strategy. It's
when
not
they-
lost in irony. It's a deliberate, conscious strategy.
They bring up Miyazaki because he's, again, the most famous, well-known anime creator who has some politics in his stories. He was a left-leaning guy, and then he rejected Marxism later in life because he did not like the concept of classism and all the various problems that history and Marxism brought. So there's nothing wrong with a creator being of any political disposition, writing art for whatever demographic he wants, and not having some heavy-handed message in his stories, which he doesn't. So these guys say, oh, well, he's clearly left-leaning, therefore anime is left-leaning, or whatever the case is. And there's always this back and forth of, I saw this guy who believes in this, who made this anime, and this anime had this theme, which is left or right-leaning, therefore people who like it are left or right-leaning. That's the kind of logic that these people follow.
Legit, that's like the stupidest logic ever. I know a person who created a game who's very left, who I think is left-leaning. I enjoyed the game. I'm more right-leaning, but I still like it, and I still love it.
Yeah, they don't separate the intentions or mindset of the creator or the viewers from the actual medium or show or game. So that happens all the time. People make that bad association. Anyway, let's keep going.
Actually thinks anime can be useful, and he said, found it a fascinating place. The aesthetics of the alt-right, I would say, could involve anime, and he has previously seen it as a recruitment tool, and he says, you want to reach people whose minds haven't ossified yet, and I think the alt-right is doing that in a crazy way through meme culture, in a sense like a kid who's 22 and just graduated from college.
This is them coping, they
their
can't
memes.
fucking meme.
So you understand their memes. You understand their people screwing around, and yet you still take it seriously.
This is them coping that the left can't fucking meme in the slightest.
Well,
The left can't
No, it's
meme.
basically just the talking point of the left conveyed through Richard Spencer.
which has
That's
nothing,
what's going on here.
which has almost nothing to do with anime. They're just using memes. The memes could be of any denomination, any cartoon. It doesn't matter if it's anime. And
That's why we have Pepes and Soy Jacks and all this other stuff.
And they're just associating it with anime for no reason.
Because it just works for whatever they're using it for.
Yeah, it's also that when I said that this is the leftist talking point conveyed through Richard Spencer, when you understand who Richard Spencer actually is, that makes even more sense because he's just a plant. He's there to say these things so that the leftist talking point is heard more, that you believe this very narrative, because he pretends to be talking out of the right-wing toolbox. In reality, this very stuff is what the left wants to do. It's always what it wants to do. It wants to brainwash people, especially children, through media. That's why they also make those stickers with the cartoon and video game characters that they plaster everywhere that say, gay Mario says gay rights or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Sonic says socialism.
Luigi says 9/11.
I haven't seen that one yet. But what I did see was Space Invaders Against Borders.
I think
What?
isn't that defeating the purpose of Space Invaders?
Yes, I can show you the picture of. I made a picture of that sticker.
Go ahead and throw it in the stream, man.
It was made in Austria.
I think we had a few videos cover the topic. Was it Missile Defense or Missile Command? That was the first political video game or some nonsense like that?
I mean, it kind of was, but even then, you gotta reach if that's anti-war.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep going.
And is working at Starbucks, and you can reach him through a meme, whereas you're not going to reach him through a book about traditionalism. So that
Okay, but that's the same argument you make for university students. I mean, you could talk about all these intellectuals that started off as Marxists and they reject it like a year or two later when they actually learn about it. So that's nothing new. It doesn't matter whether it goes from the left or it goes from the right. You're a young kid starting your studies and you don't know anything about the world. You have no history knowledge. You've never read any books on the wars or sociology. So this is typical. This is normal. people have their minds changed and challenged every year in university. So the famous example was Thomas Sowell, because he was a Marxist, and then he went, oh my God, this is crazy. And he was even studying economics in the University of Chicago, where Milton Friedman was teaching, and he ended up becoming one of his students. So you just have to pay attention.
Link that a massive Korean culture coming into Japan by these nationalists really drove this culture on 2chan, which was originally established to talk about anime, as was 4chan, but like the article says, and as we know, both have become hotbeds of nationalism. So with that in mind, it's not surprising that a lot of anime fans that you meet online, toxic anime fans, do have alt-right/nationalist leanings. But let's get into, I guess, the demographics and what sort of people join the alt-right who are from anime subcultures, or just what kind of people watch anime which make the community, like furries and bronies, more susceptible than others to alt-right recruitment. So in the same article, Lauren...
Furries are so full of communists, it's not even funny anymore.
Did he just say
furry? I remember the bronies were fucking completely full of leftist people that it's a bit sickening.
Furries. Bronies.
What? Okay, I'm a part of the
There are
right.
there are Nazi furs.
Furry.
There are unironic Nazi furries, yes. But the Cobbies outnumber them 100 to 1, if not 1,000 to 1.
Yeah, this is getting a bit weird because he brought up 2chan to just have a board to talk about anime, which then became a political board, but it became a board about anything, as all the chans become. He didn't bring up the history of nationalism in post-World War II Japan. He didn't talk about media. He didn't talk about books. He didn't talk about national pride. And there's nothing wrong with being a national fellow of a certain country and being prideful. And if you guys want to learn about the masculinity of the Japanese and the national elements, which I think the most famous is the writer Yukio Mishima, who was
quite famous,
the last guy to commit seppuku officially, and he died saying, "Long live the emperor," because he believed in the pride of the Japanese and what it meant to be a man. He was a gay man, by the way. So Japan was already forward thinking back in the day. And they believed heavily in their country. And yes, they made mistakes, as every country does. But that's no excuse to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And I'm not accusing, of course, Mr. Cavernacle about not understanding or bringing this up. But you should bring up media. You should bring up the poets and the writers and the books that influence Japanese thought. That why any country, even the Japanese, who are imperialist in some ways, would have this background of belief. It just didn't come out of anime. It didn't come out of memes. It didn't come out of Metal Gear Solid 2. It's been this way for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
I would say, in short, there's two things here. Number one is Cavernacle hates nationalism of those who are not socialists like he is, because that prevents them from becoming socialists. That makes it hard for the socialists to get in to that culture, to take it over. Number two is that he hates platforms where people who are not socialists can talk with each other. Never see socialists complaining that socialists talk on this or that platform. It's that people who are against socialism or aren't socialists or are the wrong kinds of socialists are talking on some platforms.
Yeah, we saw that we knew this before. He cherry picks articles from Vice or BuzzFeed or wherever he goes and just reads as if it's canon, as if this is what really happened in history. And
BuzzFeed is terrible, and they're dead now, which is all for the better.
Vice is gone. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. The Copper Owl, thank you, sir. There are based furries, but we are very rare. Okay, fair enough.
Just because you're a based furry doesn't mean I'm not going to tease your ass.
All right. Okay.
Only people have human rights.
Okay, let's keep going.
Cool. Lauren Orsini talked about the type of people who watch anime, and she said there's a massive overlap between anime fans and the kind of people who never leave their computers, and there's almost a big overlap between anime fans and the people who spend a lot of time online. Lauren wrote her own article responding to just this select use of a quote from her, going more into the demographics, which I think is really,
Man,
really
I wonder how many leftists
and I wouldn't
this
really take
applies.
that as an insult anyway. In the internet age, I'm thinking about myself as well. Spend most of our times on our computers or on digital devices, and even someone like me, who doesn't consider myself, a massive internet nerd or anything.
Really?
I do spend quite a lot of time on social media and things like Reddit
Trust
as well.
me, we
so
noticed.
for Otaku journalist,
Reddit
wrote, who are the anime fans really are ties to the alt-right. So there's already a stereotype that most anime fans are men. And there's a quote that I've never met a female anime fan in real life.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think women like to get into anime, and if they do, they probably get chased off by the guys going like, "Girl, girl, girl."
Not quite, but like it's more common for men to like this genre because like most of the genres are made for them. At least the ones that get to the West. But in Japan, I have read the statistics that there are more female mangakas than men. At least the ones that make it.
Yeah, it's different to get the young ladies liking the stories for young men. It does happen, and vice versa. I'm reading everything, so I read all kinds of stuff for young men, young women, etc. So, but it's a visual medium, and that's usually for males in general. Same with video games.
Like Redo of Healer, I think that has like significantly more female consumers than male.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, Sword Art Online has mostly a female fan base.
Yes, I have seen them in real life.
Redo of Healer. I just have to say, whoever the fuck came up with that, you are a fucking madman.
It was a woman.
Really? You're a mad woman then, whoever came up with it.
There are.
Who do you think writes the most rape fantasies?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get at. But there are plenty of Japanese mangakas that are women, game designers, musicians, etc., and they may appeal to both genders, both sexes, and that's just how media is made. So whether or not the most popular genre is for a certain demographic, that's just how the market works. But we can't say for certain that there is a genre for every style of story out there, whether you're a boy or a girl, young or old. There is something for everyone, which is what we love about manga and anime. Okay.
Warren says here, for me, this is a surprise. History is overwhelmingly female, and the anime club at her university was majority woman, but she said it's difficult to find anime fandom demographics, so she had to conduct her own study. In 2015, she requested demographic data from North America's 10 largest conventions, anime conventions, and 6 responded, and at all of them, women made up about 50% of attendance. And that's not really surprising, but this is an interesting caveat. On the other hand, here's a survey of Reddit's r/anime community conducted in 2014. Only 7% of anime fans in that forum are female. In other words, what the data I collected really tells us is that when it comes to in-person anime gatherings, women are better represented. She also goes on to make an interesting point that you have to be fairly tech-savvy to watch anime, especially back in the day where English dubs weren't always available, or you just could not access the Japanese material as much. But I don't find it hard to believe.
How far back in the day are you
general,
talking
anime
about?
He doesn't
has a
say.
fan base.
Before Trump.
We had subs in the 90s. We even had fan subs and we had fan subs starting in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Even like mid 90s, like those yellow subtitles. Oh man.
Yeah, tons of it. And the tech savviness that you needed was being able to be on the internet and download those illegal Metallica songs.
I think my first experience with the internet was when I was back in 2008. That was because I was on Roblox a lot. So I don't know much.
The only correct way to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion is to watch it in 2 episodes in one 50 megabyte real media file.
I have never seen that
films,
anime. I have never watched that anime.
Don't worry about it.
You missed the joke.
All right.
You didn't miss anything.
Anyway, He's just describing male and female demographics, which has nothing to do with the topic. So why he's doing that, we're not sure. But fine, let's see where he's going. Here's Captain Kohai again. Thank you, sir. SAO wasn't made by a woman. It's still going on. There's still movies being made. And...
Oh, not SAO. Redo of Healer was.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's fine. Apparently. If not, then please send another super chat proving it's wrong.
Is that why SAO is bad?
It's popular, and it's like bottom of the barrel isekai. So
SAO is bad because it's not doing rape right. Yeah.
Okay.
At least like Berserk gets it right.
Go into the video game world like they're like jacked into it like fucking Charles Xavier and Cerebro or something.
Kind of like yeah.
Just watch Hexine instead.
Except it's not enjoyable at all.
Man, I remember when I was in high school at the time, some people were talking about SAO, and I kind of got into it. I was a big fan of it. I know it's kind of shit, but damn it, I still like it.
You just didn't know anything better.
Hey, it's
watch Hexine. Watch the original Hexine. Looks horrible because they couldn't afford consistent art style. But at least the music's great.
I'll admit, this is how I would describe SAO. It's a junk food anime. It's not something for quality, but it's something you could just turn your brain off and just watch and have fun.
That sounds horrible.
Hey, you know what? Everyone has their dirty little tastes and their junk food habits. That's totally fine. Okay?
Kind of like watching a cheesy action movie from the late 70s and early 80s.
Or,
yeah, they're stupid as all hell, but they're fun.
Or any soap
All you
opera.
need to do is fast for a month, and then you can start clean with a new diet where you only want quality.
All right, fair enough. Let's keep going.
It has a fan base that might have a 50-50 split or might just lean slightly more male, but the more fanatical fans who gather online are majority male, and that's just not surprising about the internet in general. And then you think about things like 2chan and 4chan and how nationalism does appeal
Anonymous
to men, then it isn't surprising that you get these Mo-type people on Twitter.
Mo-type people. Tabernacle, just a reminder. Every socialist state that happened was an absolute tyranny, and it was hyper-nationalistic. Because you had to be all for the state, all for your nation, or you were a bad socialist. By that definition, every socialism is national socialism, therefore you're all Nazis. Go away.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you weren't, you're shoved into a box crate and then you're shipped off to the gulag.
All right.
Your mentions and swarming alt-right nationalism. And just as I'm trying to give both sides a bit more, Lauren goes on to say, I don't think the idea of anime fans as majority alt-right radicals is an accurate one. Neither do I, if it needs to be said any further. But my community doesn't make up the majority either, not even close. There are around 20 million anime fans in America alone, and it's impossible to discuss such a massive number as one with common views and beliefs, other than, of course, liking anime. So in general, I feel like the hardcore subculture online is the one that has the problem with, you know, the alt-right and everything. But something we haven't spoken about yet.
There was a subculture online that has a problem with the alt-right. Does that mean they are the alt-right, or they just don't like the alt-right?
Who is the alt-right? Where is the alt-right?
Is the alt-right sitting in this room?
I only keep hearing about this thing existing, but I almost never hear anyone being part of it.
I feel like there's a sentence on this.
He could be you. He could be me. He could be even...
I don't have a gunshot.
I got that reference.
All right.
I understood that reference.
Well,
it's obvious he was all right.
It was.
You'll see.
All right, we get it.
Okay, let's go.
Is the anime itself so primarily made in Japan by Japanese creators and by Japanese writers.
Wow.
Now, of course, I've made videos about alt-right. Love Japan.
You mean the Japanese
and I
thing is
Japanese
made by
politics
Japanese
a lot.
people?
Japanese politics is pretty diverse in some ways, but its slant of nationalism and far-right nationalism at the moment is pretty dominant. The same nationalist party in power for most of the post-war years. And something that has become pretty common in the last 30 years in Japan is the far-right dominating most things. For example, like education, they're super touchy on things like the rape of Nanjing, and they of course deny it a lot of times. They don't get taught about it in history.
Tabernacle, do you know what we call the monument the communists set up on, I don't know, speed probably, that they set up in Berlin right after the war?
The Wiener Schnitzel.
No. No. They wanted their own monument for the unknown soldier, for the communists. Put it up in Berlin. It's a pretty big thing. And the people just called it the grave of the unknown rapists. Tabernacle,
Like,
you socialists don't like to talk about how you are the fucking assholes as well. You're no better than anyone else that you complain about every single time.
So,
get the fuck out.
If you guys don't know anything about Japanese political parties, it's totally fine. It's a bit confusing because they call them names that are the opposite. So the dominant party right now is called the Liberal Democratic Party, which is a conservatism Japanese nationalistic party. And the opposing party, it's the second biggest, is the Constitutional Democratic Party, which is liberalism or social liberalism. So
my head is hurting from that sentence alone.
Yeah, they're sort of titled in the opposite direction that they
Just
are slanted.
fucking be the...
Yeah, then there's like other things like libertarianism and reform and communism, etc., etc. So Japan is very diverse, and I would say probably more than even Canada and certain other parliamentary countries. So once you try to understand that there's so many people of different backgrounds and ideologies, and they all get along relatively well, they're all very polite, they're all very accepting of their nationalism. Your understanding of nationalism, Japanese specifically, is a heck of a lot different than what's going on. So this is like me trying to understand the war that's happening. I don't have any information. I'm not getting enough information. I can't say anything about the war. I really don't know. And I think most people are in the dark about that as well. It's war, of course. So,
no, he's not using your definition of words.
Well, I'm just saying that him defining alt-right in Japan means absolutely nothing when you're talking about Japanese
alt-right means
political
nothing
parties.
in general.
Well, that's another problem because he hasn't defined it. But when you're then describing another country you have no knowledge of politically, and you're talking about politics in that country, you come across as a layman, and it's a waste of time. So it's like going to a florist to talk about spark plugs. It's like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but all he's signifying to his audience that way is they are not socialists, they are not communists like we are, therefore they are bad. That's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
These are very superficial, very simplistic people. That's all the comprehension they require, and probably all the comprehension they can comprehend.
Alrighty, here is Alex Halo. Haven't heard from you a while, guy. How's it going? Weebs and otaku hate right and left wingers both. Yes, that's true, because they like anime.
Mm-hmm.
They like to watch and play the animes and play the games it's based off and read the manga and the politics and all that other junk, as any fan will tell you, gets in the way.
Yeah, one side is Puritans who are secretly pedophiles, and the others are Puritans who are openly pedophiles yet deny that they are pedophiles, which is very strange, but
anyway.
It's basically the same thing. Horseshoe theory.
Oh, no. Yeah, let's not get into that. Anyway, did we skip ahead here? I don't know what happened.
No, I think it's fine.
Okay.
In Japan, because of them rewriting the... And as I've discussed multiple times, Japan, unlike Germany,
Also something
did
you're
not
guilty of
undergo
yourself.
a program where children and just general people were forced to reconcile with the war. Luckily for them, that Chiang Kai-shek's China was an ally of America. So the hostility after the war really had to end because they are both American friends. But then the Communist Party, when they took power, revived all this real hostility against Japan and talked about all these war crimes the Japanese did in China. And this started with Deng Xiaoping in the 1980s, because before Mao didn't want to talk about this stuff, because he thought it was embarrassing to China. And then, of course, you have all the stuff with Korea and, you know,
What
the
is he
Korean
talking
comfort
about?
woman and all the stuff the Japanese did there.
Random
What happened a lot of the
war
time,
crimes
Japanese
by
war
various
criminals
people
who oversaw this stuff were let
Something
off the
about
hook
Japanese
by
war
the
crimes during
Americans,
World War II?
and a lot of them entered politics, with numerous war criminals becoming prime ministers. So at large, it's a country that hasn't really reconciled with its treatment of its Asian neighbours,
Oh, like Nelson
and
Mandela.
hasn't really reconciled
Yeah.
with just how
Got you,
awful
bro.
they acted during the Second World.
Tabernacle, Germany still has not worked on its horrible history in East Germany of a Soviet socialist rule for 40 years.
And neither has
You
China.
shut the fuck up, you duplicitous asshole.
This is like common thing for anyone in war. Oh, we did some bad things. What do we do about it? Nothing.
This is also mentioned how he's talking about how Japan treated its neighbors. But I'm going to put it, the Family Guy put it best in a joke. This is the Asian. There'll be a bunch of different varieties that'll all hate each other for some reason.
Yeah, like everyone in Europe.
I mean, we can go into the behavior of China and Hong Kong and Taiwan and the Uyghurs and what they have not fixed yet. This is, you know, politics of every specific country has their own, you know, closet that you don't want to go into.
See, Asians, Europeans, we're not so different after all. We all hate each other.
Wow, Japan's not perfect. We get it. What's your point with anime, sir?
In the Second World Sino-Japanese War. See Germany's aesthetic, you have that Panzer one I was talking about, but then a lot of animes have them all dressed up in very Nazi-looking uniforms. But the one I want to talk about in this video is Attack on Titan.
Why?
I haven't watched Attack on Titan.
Oh,
so
boy.
I'm going to read this out and talk about what the Polygon
Oh my
saying.
God,
But
Polygon?
what I decided is I'm not going to read.
I'm going to
haven't watched it, but I'm going to talk about it like I do.
Attack on Titan is an anime about a bunch of people trying to defend themselves from giant people who want to eat them.
Who turned out to be them?
So he's never watched this.
Attack on Titan is fucking weird.
He's never watched
And then
this.
learned that they were put into concentration camps. And then it turns out that they were put into concentration camps because their ancestors were giant people who terrorized the entire world and killed people and genocided them. So now they're genocided back. Haha.
I'm traveling.
Attack on Titan is fucking wild.
It's fucking
They all
stupid.
had big noses.
So this is the research that Cavernacle
They
does.
were all circumcised.
He looks at stuff he thinks he wants to find from biased sources he agrees with. Polygon, BuzzFeed, Vice, whatever. Doesn't know the topic, and he's just going to read the article from someone he agrees with partially. So
All this shows is that the left cannot cope with the fact that it could be exposed as the bad side. Thing needs to be black and white for them, and they must be the good guys always. And it can never
is never
there's a
that
twist
simple.
that spins it around, and then spins it again, and then spins it again. They can't deal with that. They can't deal with nuance. They cannot accept that their side could ever do anything negative, because it's always okay when they do it.
all right. I'm surprised we got through this so quickly, but that's because he has nothing to say and he's just reading blog posts. So.
Like he is. You know the character Trelawney in Red Dead 2? He says a whole lot of shit, but doesn't actually say anything.
Yes, that's him, basically.
Let's go.
I'm not going to read analysis of the show. I'm going to read out the analysis of the creator who made the show and his politics. So the author and creator of Attack on Titan is Hajime Isayama. So what he said about the manga and the show is problematic. So in a 2010 blog post, Isayama, who has always maintained the series was inspired by an incident where he was accosted by a large drunk foreign man at a cafe, admitted that a supporting character, wily General Pixis, was based on the real-life Japanese general Akayama Yushifuru, who served in the Japanese Imperial Army from 1916 to 1923. He's considered a hero in Japan, with Isayama admitting he found the general an admirable figure, for his actions in the First Sino-Japanese War. But this general was also responsible for countless atrocities against Korea and China during the war. So with the stuff I've been talking about in the revisionist Japanese history, we tend to talk about the Second Sino-Japanese War, which merged into World War II.
Should we talk about the meat grinder?
This general is responsible for these things during the First Sino-Japanese War. So just some context, that sort of stuff. So the anti-Korean atrocities included in this war the murder of then Empress Myeong-seong, rioting and the massacring of thousands of Koreans living in Kanto after the Great Kanto earthquake of 1923, and the notorious Comfort Woman, a euphemism for the hundreds of thousands of Korean women and girls who were kidnapped and used as sex slaves by the Japanese army. So maybe that could be a one-off, and maybe you could say this guy
Monument of the Unknown Rapist,
he lives in. Look at all the generals and presidents the Americans idolize, who are awful people. But with all this stuff in mind,
does anyone know like what that character does in the show? By the way,
he's a kind-hearted general who does what he needs to do, but he has a great heart for all of his soldiers and especially the young ones under him.
So it's more like a visual look-alike than
it's like
an exact copy of the real life.
It's like
character.
the Yamato, right? It's a very famous Japanese ship, and we have Yamato Express 1999 or whatever that show is called. It's like they based it off that design, but it's a totally different story. This guy just gave us a 2-minute history lesson about nothing.
He said he's doing a whole lot of talking, but he's not saying anything of substance.
Even if there was like a character that looked exactly like Adolf Hitler, but like he had an entire different purpose, like the bartender from Paprika, if you remember that, he has the exact same mustache and hair as well, but he has nothing to do with Hitler. He's just a lookalike, because like the mustache like that was very popular with that generation, or like people in the army.
Style of the time.
Yeah.
It's not just the style of the time. It is not just the style. It came into being because it is compatible with wearing a gas mask.
Yeah, gas mask.
I
actually know a little bit about Attack on Titan because of Magic the Gathering, because they had one of their planeswalkers based on the Attack on Titan main character, I believe. And
Aaron?
he was hated in the entire Magic the Gathering community for some reason. I kind of liked him. I thought he had potential. But people just fucking hated him, and he is a
homicidal lunatic.
And he's absolutely horrible, and he makes no sense.
Like the final 2 seasons, I believe, like he turns into a completely different character.
I think that the character had potential if
many
I'm
do.
talking about the Magic the Gathering version, but Magic the Gathering fans are so fucking idiotic that they really just wanted him dead. And
no, that's justified.
It was a combination of that and the fact that Magic the Gathering was obviously just not for me, and was pandering.
Magic the Gathering adopting all these other franchises to make decks out of, like 40k right now, it's just showing that Wizards is creatively bankrupt.
I mean, they did send goddamn Pinkertons after a guy they sent the wrong pack of cards to.
Anyway, guys, we're going off topic here, but
sorry, I just wanted to vent about because I knew a little bit about Attack on Titan because of Magic the Gathering.
No, you don't.
It's all.
You think it's a good character with potential? It's not. It's horrible.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Okay.
Hit play. Here we go.
So after he revealed this general as an inspiration, he got into a Twitter flame war where he appeared to deny the notorious Nanjing massacre, which got him a lot of death threats from Koreans. And then China have also banned Attack on Titan outright. So what I'm not trying to say with bringing up the stuff about Attack on Titan is that
China also had reason to ban it because it's full of bones.
I mean, this is China banned Winnie the Pooh because somebody said their president looks like him.
Well,
but the bone thing is a special cultural thing because respect for the dead. You can't do that. You can't show the bony stuff, so they have to ban it on principle. Because that's a major
how
element
does China
of the thing.
fight a war now?
Well, the issue is that you should not get into an online flame war about history, especially wartime. That is a very sensitive topic. And it doesn't matter if you're popular or you're making media. You best know what you're talking about before you get into any kind of discussion. So what this has to do with anime, I really... Like, this is if a guy had an argument with his girlfriend over the weekend and he made an anime, like, I don't care. This has nothing to do with the topic of what he's trying to tell us about.
All creators of anime must somehow have far-right leanings because they're from Japan.
Wait. Slow this down. Whoa. Try that one more time.
Which got him a lot of death threats from Koreans. And then China have also banned Attack on Titan outright. So what I'm not trying to say with bringing up this stuff about Attack on Titan is that all creators of anime must somehow have far-right leanings because they're from Japan.
But what are you trying to say?
Are from Japan. Hideo Kojima is one of my favorite video game directors. Clearly not a far-right nationalist. In fact, he's the complete opposite. And I'm sure anime has lots of people just like Kojima. That's just someone I have a good reference point for. And Kojima is, of course, a big anime fan himself. But what I'm trying to say with this is that when you have certain animes like Attack on Titan include people like this general and the creator says it's based on him and then goes on to maybe deny,
just looks like him.
You know, one of the worst atrocities the Japanese committed in the second Sino-Japanese war, that is maybe when you can start to become...
You know, with the backstory of the people on Paradise Island, I think it's okay. But he hasn't read it, he hasn't watched it, how would he know? So he's just blaming it on visuals. He doesn't know anything about anything of the show, so fuck him.
What's with the dick writing for Kojima?
Well, because I said in the beginning, Kavanagh became a socialist through Metal Gear Solid, and he believes Kojima is a socialist.
How is Metal Gear Solid socialist?
It isn't.
The whole thing is you're fighting. Never mind.
It's like the other guy we once covered who believes that Caesar's Legion in Fallout is communist. It's a perfect communism.
I think this video just
slave everyone and rule over them with an iron fist.
Well,
yes,
that is very communistic.
I guess that is communism.
The tweet that threw him off was last month, or sorry, 2 months ago, where Kojima posted a. Let me just bring up on screen actually. There we go. Okay, and he said. He took a picture of some Saudi prince or something. I can't remember what it was. I'll just put in the chat as well. With His Royal Highness HRH Prince Faisal bin Bandar bin Sultan Al Saud.
Faisal.
Whatever.
Yeah, he just took a photo with some guy from some prince in Saudi Arabia or whatever, and then we have the Tabernacle, Kojima, W2F, no. When the revolution comes, you are going in the gulag. I'm so sorry.
Crying emoji.
He took a picture with a Saudi prince.
Uh-huh.
And?
Therefore,
if you don't agree... So, Tabernacle complains about, these people have committed war crimes and those people have committed war crimes, the people who are not socialists. But when the revolution comes... You go to the fucking gulag. Tabernacle wants to commit war crimes. Tabernacle, there's the window. Do it.
Tabernacle is doing this because he believes that Metal Gear Solid has an anti-American message. Even though, if you have played the third game, it's against all the authoritarian systems that are plotting against its own people. Snake is literally has to infiltrate Soviet Union to gather some nukes and destroy the Metal Gear there.
This
but
Tabernacle
whatever.
guy's English, right?
He is British, yes, and
British.
lives in
England,
London as well.
The United Kingdom as a whole have committed war crimes.
But
Yes.
he does
complains about that.
mention them, and he neglects like all efforts to come to democracy.
Yes.
Like he went to the place where they signed the peace treaty between the royal family and the people, and like he says, well, no, we supposedly have a democracy now here. It's like he doesn't understand. He's a complete moron.
So the way this works is he doesn't exempt his own country from war crimes as long as it is not socialist. When it is socialist, he will exempt it from war crimes. But because it is not socialist, he is against his own country until it becomes socialist. Socialists are loyal only to the socialist nation that they have not yet created, that is not yet in power. That is what they are nationalistic towards. So they are always anti-nationalistic towards the state they are currently in, while it is not socialist. Which means they're all traitors. Wherever they are, in whichever country they are traitors to the country they are in.
All right. Let's
Makes sense?
keep going. We got 3 minutes left.
Suspicious of the source material and of the anime, the article is actually good in that it goes on to talk about the actual show and why it's problematic with its depictions of nationalism and fascism and how it really...
How? Okay, wait a second. We're talking about Attack on Titan, where it's literally the last vestige of humanity in this city. I don't care what your political party affiliation disposition is. You're trying to survive giant creatures trying to eat you. Who cares how you're organized? Who cares what you do to survive?
And they're not organizing as worker unions, mind.
They're not part of a union.
Which would be fascism, which it isn't. So there are no worker unions, so there's no fascism. I don't know what you're talking about, Tabernacle.
Fucking Aaron Yeager gonna start the union. That's how we're gonna beat those fucking Germans back.
Oh, God.
Let's not mention that the people on Paradise Island are actually a analogy to the Jews, despite being blonde and blue-eyed, which is the whole joke.
Of all the things that are problematic, it's, well, you know, they're imperialist. It's like, so? What's the problem?
Yeah. If you want to interpret any message into any moral lesson into Attack on Titan, which you can't really because the author didn't know what he was doing, he just started doing random shit. That's why the story makes no sense at the end. But if you want to interpret any such thing into that, it is that it doesn't matter what a people looks like. It doesn't matter what they did historically. All that matters is what they are doing right now. Every people, every ideology, every form of government is capable of committing atrocious, horrible crimes against humanity, as is yours, Tabernacle. That's all.
All right.
People do bad things sometimes. I know it's a shock, but...
Talking points.
Some do it deliberately.
That wouldn't be my own words, it would be someone else's. But if you guys want to enlighten me,
you mean like you're using other people's
Attack
words
on Titan
now?
Is problematic as a whole for this sort of stuff, please let me know in the comments. So in conclusion, I guess the short answer of why you get so many anime fans being neo-Nazis and part of the alt-right.
What are you talking? Where did the neo-Nazis come
from? You didn't prove anything. You didn't find anything. You didn't prove anything.
You contradicted yourself. You're saying I'd just be using other people's words. You've been using other people's words this entire fucking video.
I think my brain just turned off listening to that video.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you for
This
telling
is
me
like
out.
writing an essay. 95% is just off topic, and then the conclusion is, by the way, the topic of this essay was X, therefore Y. You're like, what?
In this topic that I've not defined the definitions of, I have proven my point. No, fuck you. I'm not going to explain the definitions.
What is alt-right?
Anyway, we got 2 minutes. Let's just keep going. Hopefully it's an advertisement. I don't care anymore.
As the cesspools, 2chan and 4chan discuss anime and only grew into sites of just mainly and most infamously talking about nationalist politics. But
2chan and 4chan do not embody all of the fucking internet, you dumb shit.
I mean, sometimes I wish they did, but you fucking idiot.
Not to mention,
It's
4chan
not just
is not to be taken seriously at all.
like besides that, like it's not all just those kind of views. It's the entire like poll thread on 4chan is like a clash between the different views that they have.
Right. This is like saying Reddit is all politics. Like, no, that's one part of like a website that has like thousands and thousands of subreddits.
So, I mean, Reddit isn't even exclusively commie-loving, porn-addicted losers.
Did you all hear about Did you all hear about how Janny's on 4chan was working overtime because of Pigami's harassment?
Nobody cares.
Aw.
Picame is not even 2 out of 10.
Anyway, we're almost done, guys.
But I think is that 4chan originated in Japan, and it originated after this massive backlash on 2chan against Korean media, which was fueled by nationalists, no doubt obviously talking about how their culture was better, how their cartoons were better, how their anime is better than Korean anime. So in theory,
Wait a second. You're trying to base
You
the
just
entire...
said 4chan was made by an American guy.
Well, he's saying there was one argument, or started an argument with South Koreans and the Japanese on one, was it the 2000s or 1999 website, about, hey, our cartoons are X, your cartoons are Y. You're like, and? That has nothing to do with politics per se. You're talking about media. Why is Japanese media or Japanese anime better than... I don't even remember South Korean media in the 90s. Was it even popularized? I don't recall it getting any.
Not that much. Like it all blew up when Gangnam Style came out.
Oh, really? Okay.
The only Korean media I know about is K-pop shit, and that's because of K-pop stands.
I mean, this is like, if it's a Japanese website and a bunch of people from other countries saying, hey, your stuff sucks, obviously you're going to have some conflict. Like, that's not a big deal. Whether you think that's because of political discussion, or if you actually look at the various topics on a chan or the 2chan, it's not just politics, it's not just anime, it's all kinds of things. And it's anonymous. So I don't understand. Like, what is his argument then? A bunch of anonymous South Koreans told the Japanese on a website that your media sucks. Therefore, alt-right nationalism.
Man, the alt-right lore looking very interesting.
That's the same argument of, oh, I'm glad we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, therefore we have anime or something like that. What? How did that happen? Anyway, 1 minute left.
Comes a point of Japanese nationalists about how, well respected this anime is. But on the flip side of that, some of them may be attracted to the source material because of the outright fascist depictions in them. But it's also problematic such a well-known and famous piece of media like Attack on Titan does have this problematic creator. And of course,
give an example.
Like many other
examples, please.
Nope.
You say you have them.
Show something.
No examples.
If you're making these claims, you must have an example. Put it on screen.
Nope.
It would take 5 seconds in editing software.
No examples. No, we're out of examples. We have nothing in Soviet Tabernacle.
Yeah, the Japanese creator who argued with a guy about some war event in Japan's history was alt-right, apparently.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
You will starve on examples in Soviet Tabernacle.
Okay.
Imagine all the evidence.
Sub-communities, whether that is the bronies, furries, or other people like that.
The bronies and the furries. What does that have to do with anime?
If you think furries are fucking alt-right, you're a goddamn idiot.
I said before, that subgroup does exist, but the amount of communist furries outdoes them by untold factors.
What does My Little Pony have to do with anime?
Man, that episode of My Little Pony where everyone just starved to death because of no food was very interesting.
There's also an anti-communist double episode.
The season 5 premiere.
Yeah, the communist character redeemed herself and became anti-communist.
Is he just talking about his limited knowledge of cartoons and he's just bringing topics up because he's
just bringing up other subcultures or fan groups that also had one Nazi in them.
All right, okay.
Politburo has run out of ideas. Has run out of
anime
examples.
fans online
I'm
are
having
men,
an
and it's safe
aneurysm.
to say hardcore anime fans browsing 4chan might be a prime target for the alt-right, and like Richard Spencer says, the aesthetics, the memes are very appealing to a target demographic for him, so he feels it's positive to use. And in this video...
How do you know that?
What even is alt-right?
How is it that people going to
I'm
4chan
sure he didn't define it in a previous video.
are attracted to anime
Very
memes?
funny. Very
Therefore, they're all like, what does that have to do with anything? What if those memes have nothing to do with politics or just have nothing to do with the alt-right or whatever? They're just anime memes. There's plenty of anime memes. If you go to GIFs or any kind of social media where you hit the GIF button and you type in something, you'll find anime. It has nothing to do with politics.
Politburo has deemed your hobby as problematic.
This is like saying Reddit is just politics. It's like, no, it's not. The whole entire website, so it's all politics. It's like, no.
I've tried to points I made in my other 2 videos, but if you feel like I haven't elaborated enough on some of this stuff...
You'll never elaborate.
You have not. You don't elaborate.
You can't.
You didn't. You just said a bunch of nonsense and expect people to accept you.
All your research is a bunch of people giving opinions on stuff they don't even like. And you're just reading it.
Politburo does not need example. Politburo make example out of you.
I would have anything for an example would have been nice. Anything like something from 4chan, for God's sake.
That would require work on his part.
Oh,
Again,
but
like I've said before, never take 4chan seriously at all. You could have a dude on there saying that he's the reincarnation of Adolf Hitler and he's coming to kill the Jews, and he's a gay black man from Uganda. Don't take 4chan seriously.
There's only 2 boards I would consider serious, and that's Paranormal and Paul.
Look, the problem with the left is that they're unable to not take anything seriously. They have to take everything seriously. They're incapable of not doing it. Everything is serious because everything is political. So everything is relevant.
All right.
Because I'm sure Pac-Man has a deep political message about work or something. I don't fucking know.
Okay. We're almost done.
Please go check out my videos. Why the alt-right love Japan. And I think the other one is called How Weebs Sanitized Japan's Far-Right Nationalism or something like that.
Is that how much confidence he has?
Think in the comments. I would like some feedback on this specifically.
No, you wouldn't.
Of course he has a subreddit.
Animes like that Panzer one or Attack on Titan.
No, he wouldn't. Let's just go
Wait,
to his
did he just dox himself?
Yes.
Of course he has a subreddit.
If you go to his comment section, he replied to one. Well, I'm sure he replied to other people. There's this one comment. Let me see if I can find it.
Yes, user Tommy Cahill 1995. You doxed yourself.
Never, and I repeat, never put information that could dox yourself on the internet.
All right.
You know
that
username.
Well,
This
that
is
didn't
great.
stop.
This is great.
That didn't stop Pillar Garbage from posting his face and his neighborhood, I guess.
All right.
God.
Sarif, do you want a postmodernist Marxist interpretation of Pac-Man?
Oh boy.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. This ought to be good.
Okay. Pac-Man illustrates the capitalist need to own everything, as well as the exploitation of the working class by the big pharma industrial complex.
And you got that from a yellow dot running around a maze, eating shit pellets, being chased by ghosts.
Yeah, eating pills, also eating super pills, by which you then can exterminate the alleged different people that you run away from due to your xenophobia.
Oh Lord.
I got one with Pac-Man and cancel culture.
All right.
Pac-Man is a poor, starving man.
Here we go.
He basically eats crumb after crumb just to even survive. And the unrelenting ghosts keep chasing him, wanting him to die and kill himself.
The ghost of capitalism?
All right.
No, not the ghost of capitalism, the ghost of cancel culture.
Now, here's a comment he actually replied to. This was from 3 months ago, ironically from the user Moe. And Moe says, because anime doesn't shove PC woke BS down your throat the way Western media does now, end of story. And then the Cavernacle replies, Cowboy Bebop is left-wing anti-capitalist.
The fucking villain of one of the episodes is a teddy bear communist, for Christ's sake.
Yeah,
What do you
Teddy
mean
Bomber.
anti-capitalist?
I would
We want to
like
go to the memes.
I would like leftist media if they would just be more fucking subtle. Like
Subtlety is not their strong suit. Do we want to go to memes?
Can you stop interrupting?
Sorry.
Anyway, he says most Miyazaki stuff is too. If you guys actually pay attention to Miyazaki, there is anti-war rhetoric for sure, and all kinds of other mysticism from Japanese Shintoism and various other mythology. But no, Miyazaki is not inherently political. He does have political elements, as most of his stories are about war, and he does not like war. That is not anti-capitalism. That is not socialist, even though he is a left-leaning fellow. So there's a big difference. That's the only one I found. If you guys want to go through his comment section, be my guest, but there's really no value in doing so.
No.
Anyway, let's get to memes, because
I would go through the comment section, but I have better things to do with my time.
Like go through memes.
I just saw the Boondocks one. Fuck.
Drink some water, man. Damn.
Sorry, I've just been coughing lately. Damn. What the hell's up with me?
It's allergy.
So are we at memes yet, or?
I'm getting there.
Let's go to
There's a lot of them today.
There we go. Okay. Oh boy. This is from Mark. Thank you, Mark. Hawk, when he sees we're covering yet another Cavernacle video.
I think you're in the wrong window for the memes.
Hawk
Still have
is
the
like,
cat video on.
oh dear God,
Yeah.
no.
The video's still on screen, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
There it goes.
Yeah, you had it in
Okay, fair
the
enough.
chat bar. No, it's not. It's all right.
All right.
There you go.
These things strike fear into the weeb heart. Deodorant, a social life, English dubbed anime, and a job application.
Can I please read this one in Uncle Ruckus voice, please?
These things strike fear.
Fear for we taught.
I would have put
Deodorant.
English dubbed anime into the last pen.
Deodorant, a social life, a job application.
Oh wait, are you reading it from right to left?
What was that?
Oh, here's the reference from who gave the super chat with Mo Astray?
That was Legacy.
Legacy, thank you, sir. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. There you go. I don't know all the references. I do apologize. There's the bait. Yeah, no, this is what Cavernacle does. He just finds articles he agrees with or are along his lines, and he just reads them.
He took the bait.
N-word, there is no hose here. It's the Eastern Front. You're going to die. Why is it the guy from Blue's Clues?
Is it Steve or is it
I
Steve?
don't know. I'm just realizing that it's the Blues Clues guy.
Yeah, it's Steve.
No, it's not Smud. You read it wrong. It's not. There's no hose here. There's no hoes here.
Oh.
Oh Lord.
This man is a self-proclaimed male feminist ally who strongly respects women and fights for their rights. Sex offender. Got it.
Sex offender.
Yeah. All right. Oh my God. Ellie, daughter of Joel. Revenge is bad, guys. Abby is just trying to avenge her father and isn't a truly bad guy, guys. She will leave me alone
not really
after I
on
spare her
topic,
from
Abby.
revenge, even though I brutally killed all of her friends to get to her, guys. Killing her will continue the cycle. And then we have Amleth, son of Aravandil.
Aravandil.
I have realized that my quest for revenge is for naught. My mother never really loved my father. However, if I were to secure the future of my children and to avenge my father, the war raven, I must kill Fjolnir. Which story would you prefer? I don't know. It's kind of hard to choose.
I'll choose the one on the right.
Under the floorboard.
There's one. Yeah.
Oh my God! What did they do to his face? Oh, what a horrible makeup job. Anyway, oh no! What is this?
Everything in a nutshell.
This is
Enemy fans are Nazis. Faggot.
What is?
I am sorry, my mentor.
Dexter's mentor just
Someone fucking punch on Ken
Okay, is that supposed to be Andrew Tate? Oh, never mind.
Wait, why is it in dark Andrew Tate? That doesn't make.
We'll watch those later. Okay. What is this? The German cross with the Nazi flag and a furry? Like, what the hell is that?
What the hell? Why is he crying?
What is
Nazi flags do exist. They're just rare. They're like rare Pepes.
Oh my God. Hideo Kojima. Just so you know, it may look like rainbow flag t-shirts that I'm wearing today, but I am not a gay.
Holy shit, that looks ugly.
He's not wrong.
Based Kojima.
I am not a gay. Maybe that was translated.
Wait. You're not a gay.
Yeah, it sounds like he came from Africa or something. I'm not a gay. Space Invaders Against Racism? What?
Oh, I know how you win the game. You just don't touch the controller.
Yeah, I told you these are real. This is a real sticker. On the left, you can see it's from Rosa Antifa Wien, which is Vienna.
Oh Lord!
They make these stickers, and they so Antifas, they visit each other, and then they take some stickers from this or that group, and then so they turn up in other countries.
All right.
This one is down the street here.
Here's a cool...
all the lampposts are full of them.
Here's a cool meme of the 60s, 70s, and 80s anime. That's very neat. I like it. Then we have... what am I looking at? Oh! Okay, this is when they take the actual anime shots and they wokeify them, I guess. What do you call that? Turning them all black. Team Rocket's black.
Race swapping.
Race swapping, yeah.
Because they can't make real characters themselves. They even gave Deku braces.
What? It was obvious. No. He was the alt-right.
It looks so horrible.
Is that the spy or is that?
No, that's Meet the Spy.
That's the soldier.
That's from Meet the Spy. Yeah.
Okay. Trimp will make anime real.
Fucking watch Mojo. What the fuck?
Is that a real thumbnail?
I hope not.
I kind of hope it is.
Top 5 facts about the alt-right. Yeah, sure. Let's just watch Mojo.
2017.
Gonna assume you aren't aware that the Titans are anti-Semitic creations. Straight up, the Titans are from a fictional Jewish race that seeks to dominate the protagonist, the creator of the manga, and the manga itself is very fascist and is a Japanese nationalist.
Huh?
Is he trying to say the
golems?
Really.
Enjoy things.
The golem in Japanese folklore is representative of the Titans in Attack on Titan?
I don't know.
I really don't think so.
Man, I'm an American judging a foreign piece of media. I should look at it through an American point of view instead of a Japanese point of view. That won't look racist at all.
Share this image if you love Yui, or if you love or if you deny the Holocaust. There's a good, one or the other. It's totally fine. Oh, when weeaboos call themselves otakus as if it's any better. Okay. Just change a few words, and it's the same argument. No, you can't actually support Kaiser. My morals, my freedom. Volpes is a furry. Lanius doesn't know logistics. Haha, sniper rifle beats machete. You hear that? The Legion is totally going to collapse, by the way. And then we have stability and order are more important. Stop being blinded by your arbitrary modern morals and hate boner for the Legion.
Copper Owl, you're cool, but that had more words than a leftist meme.
No.
Yeah, kind of wordy.
No, the leftist memes are worse.
You haven't seen leftist memes, man.
Yeah.
I had, but I was just
It's not that bad, but kind of wordy.
So I'm assuming the one on the left is the NCR. I'm just guessing.
I don't know.
All right. It's okay. It wasn't real communism. We can try again in another country. Oh, God. Me when they send me the wrong cards. Oh, okay. I know. They'll understand me in Japan. Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
My sources, I made it the fuck up.
Armstrong. Or is it Senator Armstrong? Yeah.
Yeah.
AOT leads to alt-right. Just here. AOT?
Attack on Titan.
Oh. Why did he even bring up Attack on Titan? He hasn't watched it. Like, this is a strange thing to...
I don't know.
Well, so I haven't watched it, but here's this Polygon article about it.
Yeah, it was for a time the left was all over trying to paint it as the horrible Nazi anime.
The horrible Nazi anime.
Just makes me want to watch it more.
Anyway, that was...
coughing earlier on stream, by the way.
Well, don't worry, it's okay. I mean, that was shorter than I thought, so I didn't realize that he had nothing. Like, he had nothing to say, so we were just like, okay.
He had stuff to say, but there was no fucking substance to it.
Well, they weren't his opinions. They were just, he was reading an article, and it's like...
He was like a fucking parrot. He's like, ah!
He is a parody, yeah.
Here's a bunch of random non sequitur history parts of Japan. You're like, and? What do you want me to do with that?
Cavernicle want a Patreon. Cavernicle want a Patreon.
If he has a Patreon, he's not a good socialist because that's capitalism. Running your own business is capitalism.
Anyway, guys, that was
socialism, except when capitalism benefits me.
That was a less painful video than I thought. It was as empty as I imagined it would be, but yeah, definitely less painful. I didn't hear any ridiculous statements, which is impressive. So
yeah, he was very young here, so
yeah,
he didn't have his mojo just yet.
I'm glad he wants to engage in discussions, but holy hell, dude.
But he sucks at it.
You could barely reply to half the people in your comments who are telling you how dumb you are. And then you quote and say that Bebop is a socialist or anti-capitalist, whatever. And Miyazaki
I got
also was anti-capitalist. Like, what? What are you talking about? Shows for kids are anti-capitalist. I guess. Who knows? So, that was a relaxing day for me. I don't know about you, but...
Relaxing.
Yeah, no, that was... it didn't hurt me as much as I thought. So
this was the easy mode of his videos.
I guess so.
Yeah, we've covered topics like this before from him and others, so this was very empty and didn't bother me so much. So, good stuff. Thank you, guys. Have yourself a good one. Enjoy the rest of Monday, and we will talk to you guys later. I think it's either tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on Bears' schedule. We don't know what he's up to, but we'll find out if we got a special video for you guys later tomorrow.
Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The markets were closed in America today, therefore Memorial Day. So, yes. Thank you. Have a good one. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a wonderful time.
Bye. Have a great time.